Dartmouth is ready to open up the Old Colony League portion of their schedule, and they're looking to make it 2 wins in a row when they'll be at Bridgewater-Raynham Friday at 7, and this is always a tall task for the Indians.
You know, it seems like every year Bridgewater-Raynham is one of the top teams in the state, not just in the OCL. It's usually a team that does well at the state level. Always, it seems like it's the last couple of years it's always come down to Bridgewater-Raynham and Barnstable. I actually made the trip to Barnstable this past week to watch New Bedford play, and it looks like the Red Raiders won't be in that discussion for the OCL title unless they turn things around quickly. They did not look very well in that game, and they're winless on the season. So really, for all kind of intents and purposes, this game is pretty much for the OCL championship. I would say, in my opinion. Bridgewater-Raynham is actually coming off a loss last week to Marshfield, 20-7. The Trojans struggled in that game, but if anybody that's up on high school football, they know Marshfield is one of the top teams this year, in the area. And really, when you look at Bridgewater-Raynham's schedule, they play Xaverian, they play all these top teams. So you look at their record, and they're only 2-3, but their losses are all to teams that are probably going to be going far in the state. Yeah,
exactly. Teams that that's what you call quality losses.
Yeah, and they did beat New Bedford a couple weeks ago, and give New Bedford the Whalers their first loss of the season. And really, it's been interesting to see for Bridgewater-Raynham because their top 2 running backs have been down with injuries, so they've had other guys kind of fill in and pick up that load. But last week, the Trojans were held to 77 rushing yards and 124 passing yards, and usually they have over 200 rushing yards, so that's not typical.
It's like half as much as they usually put up.
Yeah, definitely. And Dartmouth got back in the win column last week. They lost to Apponequet a couple weeks ago. Last week they beat Durfee, to kind of get that taste of the loss out of their mouth, because I know they were pretty upset after the loss to Apponequet. And it was a balanced attack. Blaine Almeida threw a couple touchdown passes. He's still filling in for Matt Boparlin, who's been out with an ankle injury, and he did a solid job last week. And then Chris Martin, he kind of dominated on the ground. I think he had 148 yards and 2 touchdowns. And as a team, the Indians had 282 rushing yards. So they got back to what they do well. Let's run the ball when we can, and let's keep the defense honest. And when they give us opportunities to throw, we're gonna make them pay. So it should be unlike years past where it's kind of been one-sided with Bridgewater-Raynham beating Dartmouth pretty handily. I think it's going to be a lot closer this year. I mean, Dartmouth has a shot, limit turnovers, limit penalties, and they should be in this game.
All right, that is Friday at 7 at Bridgewater and/or Raynham. Where exactly is the school like?
It's in Bridgewater, yeah.
Okay, in Bridgewater. So you can go and check out the game, or you can follow along with the action on Twitter at SC_varsity. You can hashtag in the conversation using the hashtag SCVfootball.